February 11 is the anniversary of the victory of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. Every year, the 10-day dawn celebrations, also known as Dahey-e-Fajr celebrations, are held across the country to mark the event. These 10 days that Iranians now celebrate were filled with landmark events that changed the course of history. In this program, we'll look into the events that led to the ouster of the Pahlavi dynasty and brought about the establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran. You're watching the story of Iran's Islamic Revolution in a nutshell. The Dahey-e-Fajr celebrations begin on February the 1st, which marks the day when the late founder of the Islamic Republic, Imam Khomeini, returned to Iran from exile. Iran had been under the rule of monarchical dynasties for centuries, and the last dynasty to rule was founded by Reza Shah Pahlavi in 1925. Reza Shah reigned for 16 years and pursued a reformist policy which drew public discontent. Chief among the reforms was replacing Islamic laws with Western laws. In 1941, he was forced to abdicate the throne to his son, Mohammad Reza. The new Shah maintained a close relationship with the US. His government was known for its autocracy and focus on westernization, as well as its disregard for religious and democratic measures in Iran's constitution. Mohammad Reza Shah was largely criticized for political corruption and the activities of his secret police, Savak. He established the service with the help of Israel and the CIA. Its main aim? Monitor opponents and repress dissent. Savak's practice of torturing and executing the regime opponents made it the most notorious and feared institution in Iran prior to the Islamic Revolution. In 1963, the Shah launched a series of reforms known as the White Revolution. Although the reforms brought some progress to the country, they were met by strong criticism from the public. The opposition to the Shah and his White Revolution was spearheaded by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, a prominent religious figure who believed that Shah had embarked on a path toward the destruction of Islam. Imam Khomeini was arrested following his famous speech at Feyzi School in June 1963, when he strongly criticized the Shah's policies. Imam Khomeini's arrest sparked 3 days of mass rallies nationwide, with his supporters saying thousands of people were killed by police. After spending 8 months under house arrest, Imam Khomeini was released. But he remained a strong and outspoken critic of the Shah regime for its policies, including its close cooperation with Israel. In November 1964, Imam Khomeini was rearrested and sent into exile, where he remained for 15 years. But popular support for him grew even further during his absence. Opposition to the Shah regime was spreading, despite the government's oppression. Iranians were outraged at the high inflation rate, the widening gap between the rich and the poor, as well as the repression of freedom of speech. Anger was also high at the fact that the royal family benefited the most from the country's oil revenues, at a time when thousands of poor people were affected by austerity measures to curb the inflation. Popular anger was further ignited by the death of Imam Khomeini's son, Mustafa, at the hands of Savak. His death on October 23, 1977, set in motion a chain of mass demonstrations that grew in the ensuing months and turned into a campaign of civil resistance. To appease the protesters, the Shah regime made some changes and pledged to do more. However, none of these were welcome, with the protesters remaining steadfast that the monarchy must be overthrown and that Imam Khomeini should return home. The anti-Shah demonstrations started growing across Iran, despite heavy-handed crackdown by the military. Finally, on January 16, 1979, the Shah and his family left Iran for Egypt. Nearly 2 weeks later, on February the 1st, Imam Khomeini returned to Tehran, promising to form a government with the support of the people. On February 11, the Shah regime was overthrown, and on April the 1st, following a referendum in which more than 98% of eligible Iranians voted yes, Iran became an Islamic Republic. Every year, Iranians hold celebrations in this period to mark the victory of the Islamic Revolution that brought an end to 2,500 years of monarchical rule in their country. And that was the story of Iran's Islamic Revolution in a nutshell.